Not settling. I used to always settle for a lot of tough shots that I always knew I could make, but, I try to let that be my last resort. And just being more conscious of that. I feel like I can get fouled, I can get to the basket, I get in the paint when I want. And once I do that, opens up a lot more options for me to be able to score, get my teammates involved, and, give me a lot more options, and, I feel more comfortable.
Are you seeing different things, DeMar? Dwayne talked about that. Are you seeing different coverages, different doubles coming from different spots, that kind of thing?
I think just handling the ball more and, using the screen and roll more, and I'm able to understand rotations and understand where they're coming from, what they're trying to get me to do, and, try to think 2 steps ahead a lot of times when I do have the ball. It's not mainly what I'm going to do, mainly what the defense is going to do if I do something, and that's how I treat it a lot of times when I have the ball in my hands.
That was the first time you've beaten Chris Bosh in your entire career. Do you feel any kind of good? You mentioned it to him?
Yeah, I'm going to mention it to her, though. I'm going to let him know, but, it's just crazy, how long it's been, since my rookie year playing with him and all this time playing against him and, just finally beating him. So,
DeMar, you talked about being aggressive. I noticed the pull-up jumper coming in, I guess, closer to the basket. Is that because of you trying to get to the basket, and then, as you said, if nothing goes, then you use that jumper?
Yeah, that's all it is. I know I can get close, and the closer I get, I know the higher percentage of me making it. A lot of guys bite on the pump fake early on during the game, and I think later in the game they think I'm still using, and I feel more comfortable when I'm pulling up, and I know they're gonna late contest and give me all the time in the world to get my shot off.